Good afternoon and welcome back. This is U.S. Home Talk. We are live every Wednesday at noon and on demand at South Dakota, USHometalk.com, wherever you guys find your podcasts. We are your host, Marcus Walgrave, with the South Dakota Home Team, powered by Hague Realtors, and Evan Little, insurance advisor with Paragon. Today we are going to be talking about anything and everything real estate. We do have a call-in number, so feel free to give us a call with your real estate questions. That number is 612-234-7585, or you can leave us a message on Facebook. Good afternoon, Evan. How are we doing today?
Hello. Good. I'm very excited to talk about everyone's favorite thing to talk about, insurance.
You know, insurance is one of those deals, right? I mean, it comes up pretty much on every real estate transaction. And so, you know, it's always good to try to get all the information you can, make the best decisions that works best for you and you and your family, if that's the case. And that's why we're going to be talking about it here on today's show, is because there's a lot going on in the insurance world right now. And so hopefully we can kind of cover as much as we can, try to highlight some of the important parts of it, and, kind of go from there. Again, guys, if you have any questions, you can give us a call, 612-234-7585. If I say it fast enough, you probably can't write it down, and then we don't have to worry about answering any questions.
I mean,
Joking.
It scrolls across the bottom over and over, but yeah.
Oh, yes,
you can also
no.
hop into the comments and ask a question there, or just comment about how you hate insurance, and we'll all just commiserate and agree. Because, you know, even me, Mr. Industry Insider, I hate insurance. It's awful. It's better than the next best thing, which is nothing, but it's still rough.
Yes. I think that's kind of the point to highlight today, right? It is it's going to be better than nothing, because we got a lot of stuff going on. Weather can be a bugger, especially up here in the Four Seasons, especially in the states, you know, that are affected by the hurricane seasons. Especially, you know, there's just a lot going on in terms of weather that can cause a lot of damage to our properties. So this is kind of
Seems like
our protection.
Every region has something going on right now that's driving rates up in big ways, right? In the Southwest, you have serious increases in wildfire risk. In the Midwest here, we've had a constant increase in wind hail losses. In the Southeast, hurricanes have been getting more severe over time. In the Northeast, they're just getting more hurricanes. And in the South, they just get all of it. Texas is getting all of those things.
Get all of it. They do. Deepers.
So yeah,
it hammered by a hurricane, and Dallas gets crushed. And Dallas Fort Worth area will gonna get picked off by some tornadoes to the north, and tough.
It seems like there's not an area of the U.S. that doesn't have some sort of upward trend of, man, this thing that's been a problem for insurance is becoming a worse problem for insurance. So nationally, rates since 2021 are up by about 70% on average.
That's the tough part, right? I think that obviously if you're into current events, and that's gonna be a headline that has caught your attention multiple times over the last. I mean, when did this all really start? About 3 years ago, when the rates really started to kind of get.
I think so. Yeah.
Maybe kind of aggressive. I mean, from the states like Florida, I mean, they've been dealing with this stuff for years, but like here up in the Midwest, I mean, it seems like it wasn't that long ago where it seemed like insurance was nice and affordable.
Yeah, well, I mean, the relative affordability is always a big question, right? Because housing prices have gone up, not crazy amounts, but significantly in that same span, going back like 10 years. And so the question is always like, how much as a portion of your home are you paying for insurance? And that ratio hasn't gone up that much. It has been creeping upwards, right? Some people are paying less than 1% of their home's cost. Some people are paying more. It really depends more on the rebuild cost of the home versus the value. The areas that this is something that drives me a little crazy, right? Because they will say, it's more affordable in some areas, and most of the areas that they claim that it's more affordable are the areas where housing values are massively inflated. Because if you live in Southern California, right, you have a 1,500 square foot bungalow, yes, it costs more to rebuild there than it does, say, here in the Midwest, but not nearly to the same degree that the housing prices are different, right? That house in California that I'm talking about probably costs north of $1 million. Meanwhile, my house is, 300 grand, something like that. And, we're talking about similar
Same
properties.
house, though. Yeah,
Right.
Like same square footage, same bed, same baths.
Right.
Different lot.
Right, exactly.
location.
It's a slightly different regional demand, and so that the price of the lot, the price of the location, isn't generally priced into your insurance bill. So it'll look more affordable, but your rates are still going up similar amounts. It's more affordable relative to your home loan, which is twice as much if you live in the LA or whatever. So I see a lot of charts that come out from industry groups that are like, it's not that bad. But when you look at the actual trend line of how homeowners' premiums have been going up, it has been quite substantially nationally. And yeah, the number since 2021 is on average 70% total. So that's a lot. Each region, like I said, has something different driving it. Here, it's wind hail. Boy, oh boy, is it ever wind hail in the Midwest. And, like every time, the other day we had another storm roll through and I got a little bit of hail here and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We're going to get more claims. It's just always more work, right?
Well, I think it's so. You made a comment a second ago, and I think that stuck with me. And just in terms of when we talk, if you're just talking about insurance costs, and I think you said it has been up 70%. Was that about what you
Correct.
said?
70% since 2021 national average.
2021. So I just did a look at in terms of like a quick Google search. How much more is your home worth since 2010? And Google AI overview kicked out that the U.S. median home prices have risen significantly, increasing by approximately 50% between 2010 and 2023. So like you said, a lot of that, not necessarily the rate has gone up, but if your home is worth 50% more, well then you have to cover the cost of the property, and so that's a big driving factor. If the property is worth more, then your insurance is going to cost more.
Well, yes and no, right? So, like I was saying, the lot isn't priced in. So some areas have seen an explosive increase in their value because just demand has risen, right? Everyone wants to move to a specific suburb in your city or whatever. Sure. That doesn't necessarily increase the cost of insurance at all, because if the house rebuild cost remains the same, right? It costs $300,000 to rebuild this house, regardless of what, how popular the neighborhood is. That means that the insurance cost shouldn't change in that area. Now, that said, the biggest spike has been in this last year. My own homeowner's insurance premium, Mr. Deal Hunter guy inside the industry, all that stuff, my homeowner's rate went up 45% this year. And that was the best deal I've got. Yeah. So that 70% is a big number, but I do feel like, at least here, and I've been seeing similar trend lines with my clients, it's all in this last year. That it's a big jump. So why that's occurred 2024 to 2025 to 2026, this nebulous 12-month window where these renewals are coming in, I can't speak to that, but it does seem like it really has hit really hard in the last year.
Yeah, and you kind of talk about like the Midwest, right? Wind, hail.
Oh yeah.
Usually, it's not like a wind only or hail. It's when you combine the two, that's when you really start getting some of that damage. If you have quarter size hail, no wind, you there's maybe a good chance you're going to get away with no damage anywhere. But if it's like a front that pushes in and it's going 70, 80 miles per hour, that quarter size can really beat up your property, especially the shingles. And I think that's what we see. But you made the comment about that we got a little hail last night, and it's one of those deals where if it hailed right, within a couple hours that hail has melted and it's gone. But if you were gone the weekend that it really hailed earlier in the year, but you caught this one and it was sparked your interest to get your roof checked, and so it could be finding old storms that had pushed through that you didn't even notice because you were gone the weekend, but you got hailed the night before because it woke everybody up. You don't really know how big it was because it was 3:00 in the morning and you're not going out with a ruler and checking on it. You just know, hey, it hailed last night, woke everybody up. Now it's 8 a.m. in the morning. I'm calling my insurance saying, hey, had hail last night. Can you guys come out and check it out? And it could have been from a bad storm that had passed through in recent months. So, Evan, you are an insurance advisor. You guys work for Paragon Group of companies, Paragon Group of companies, and one of the nice things about you is the deal hunter. And so that's one of the situations where I think we really would want to focus on today's show that if you're maybe in that position where just the insurance provider that you have, the costs are getting maybe a little too high and they're becoming not manageable financially, you got to reach out to somebody like Evan Little over at Paragon Insurance and just say, hey, is there anybody out there that can provide a similar policy, but at a more affordable rate, and get those questions answered? It never hurts to ask, right? I think that's the important thing to for anybody listening who's looking to maybe find some more affordable insurance.
So this is obviously everyone's price conscious. We all see ads that are like you could save 10%, 30%, whatever. The key consideration here is, so I'm what's called an independent agent. Paragon is an independent agency. We have appointment contracts with a whole bunch of different insurance companies. So my job is to advocate for you going to these different companies to try and find the best fit. There are companies that don't work with independents, and they're what we call captive companies. So there are a number of big examples. State Farm is the most prominent captive company, but I work with Progressive. I work with Safeco. Safeco is owned by Liberty Mutual. There's Encompass 360. There's auto owners nationwide, et cetera. So we have a number of resources that we can go to try and find the best fit based off of, your state, your income, the type of home. Because some insurance carriers really hate big houses, right? Or they really hate certain areas. Their rating is so zip code dependent that you will see similar houses that are, 15-minute drive from each other, and two different insurance carriers are very, very interested in each one, or very much not interested in each one. And so, there are a lot of advantages to coming to an independent agency like Paragon to see what's out there. Always happy to help.
Paragon founded in 2008. And I think that's one of those, if you guys are just looking to get some more information, you can get Evan's information or Paragon information from our website, ushometalk.com. That's where all of our partners are at. And just to try to get that conversation started, I think that's kind of a key point to it. And we talk about on today's on US Home Talk about some of the great ideas on what we can do, to be innovative with residential. When we're talking about insurance company, I would assume residential claims is probably the bulk of it. I mean, when you look at like a commercial building get built, right, you're seeing a lot of steel and a lot of concrete, and that's kind of the makeup of it. So quarter size hail comes through, maybe not a lot of damage on a big commercial property like that, but residential, we have hardboard siding. Yes, it's hard, hence its name. But it's usually covered in paint. We have the wood that's used to trim out the doors and the windows. It's usually a soft breed of a species of wood, and asphalt shingles. I mean that's what we kind of have up in the Midwest, and all those are they kind of get, especially in the warm summer months. Even like, I shouldn't say the warm, even like right now the sun is still really warm.
Yeah.
Yes, we are
the summer month of September.
Yeah, right. Well, we got 3 weeks of it is summer, so there's a lot of truth.
It's been
to
crazy.
It. It is. Yep. But like
So
when it's on a hot day, those shingles are soft.
yeah, no, that's true. I think that to some degree there's a bit of a, I don't want to like overblow it, but there is kind of a repairability crisis in roofs. In the sense that theoretically asphalt shingle roofs are supposed to be repairable for the life of the roof. And, Owens Corning and these other companies will rate roofs for 30, 40, 50 years. They don't last that long. I think that what it boils down to is you get about 10 to 15 years into a roof's life. And while it should last another 30 years, the problem is one big wind event can lift those shingles and start cracking them. And once you get to that point, the roof contractor will come out and say, yeah, we want to repair this. But in order to leaf in new shingles, they have to be able to lift the other ones, and the roof is too brittle. And that's what we see happening a lot on these roof claims is initially they're approved for repair until a contractor comes out and goes, we can't repair it because each time we lift a shingle, it gets damaged, and then now we have to replace a whole half of the roof, and that means that we have to replace the whole roof.
If your neighbor has your house reshingled, you know exactly what Evan's talking about because you'll hear,
yeah,
because they're punching nails, to connect those shingles to the house. So to your point, I mean, every time you replace shingles, I mean, you're exposing an old nail hole, and I mean that makes total sense. You can only do it so many times.
So the issue is. Once it's not repairable, then you got to replace the whole thing, and now you're talking about a big cost. Insurance companies now are really trying to move that cost back onto the consumer, both by increasing rates, and also we've seen a huge number of companies move to very large wind hail deductibles. Previously, so when I started in the business, it was not uncommon that you could get a symmetric deductible, your all losses deductible. It's all one thing, $1,000, $2,000, whatever it is. Now, pretty much every company that we write with mandates a separate wind hail deductible unless your all perils deductible is like $5,000. And it depends on the value of the home. Sometimes that's higher. That's a lot. They are trying to offload that cost back onto the consumer to get it off of their books. And does that control costs for them? Yeah. But if claims continue to go through, will that stop premiums from increasing? No, I think it just makes people less happy when they make a claim.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense too. So I mean, if you guys have questions about insurance, Evan Little is going to be your man. Easy to find his information. You guys can visit our website, ushometalk.com, and find all of our partners' contact information, or just give us a call at our hotline number, 612-234-7585. Evan, thank you for filling us in with today's insurance update.
You know what we should do? We should do a legal minute.
This is Jeff O'Brien, attorney with Hush Blackwell with the U.S. Home Talk Legal Minute. An easement can be categorized as an easement appurtenant or an easement in gross. An easement is said to be appurtenant if it benefits another specific piece of property. Examples of appurtenant easements include easements for access and driveways, parking, encroachments, lateral support, and skyways. By contrast, an easement in gross permits use of the burdened property without conferring a benefit upon another specific parcel. Examples of easements in gross include easements for utilities such as power lines or wind power. Other examples include railroad rights of way, recreation, or billboard signs. Historically, easements in gross were deemed to be inalienable, meaning that they could not be transferred. Some exceptions, however, exist, and courts are more inclined today to permit transfer. For questions about the interpretation of an easement and the respective rights of the landowners affected, contact a knowledgeable real estate attorney. This is Jeff O'Brien, attorney with Hush Blackwell with the U.S. Home Talk Legal Minute.
Good stuff.
Yes, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. Always a lot of moving pieces. We don't really come up with easements. Usually don't get talked too often in real estate, but there's the obvious ones. During a showing, if you see some utility lines like power lines, electrical lines hanging in the backyard, you're going to know that there's a utility easement there. Or if there's a storm ditch, there might be a city easement to manage that water. So those are kind of the obvious ones, but there's definitely way more than that. When you kind of get into some of those old parts of town, you might have like a shared driveway easement. where both properties are using the same driveway, and to try to get a better understanding of everybody's rights is definitely going to be very valuable for everybody. So thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. As our show comes to an end today, we want to thank you all for taking the time to listening to us live, and for your support of US Home Talk. As always, you guys can find today's show or any of our past shows on our website, ushometalk.com, or wherever you guys find your podcasts. This is Marcus Walgrave, Evan Little. Have yourself a blessed week.